Hi guys, welcome back to our channel. We're going to start recording some more videos for you for yoga and meditation. Today we're going to do about a 20-minute just morning flow to get you moving. So we're going to start standing. Come to the top of your mat, and I'll encourage you to do feet together to touch, just to start to make it a balancing pose for yourself. And then Samastitihi, hands fall straight by your sides, shoulders roll back, the chest really opens, the legs start to engage, and you have this subtle bend behind your knees, just to not lock out. And start to find your breath here. And I like to encourage you too, if you have a little bit of a sway going on, or some movement in the feet this morning, just call it in as finding your balance, finding your grounding. I kind of encourage the sway and move into it a little bit. See if it takes you into the front of the toes, into the backs of the heels, maybe the toes lift, and maybe even a little left to right. And just feel that out. Usually we stiffen up when we try and go against it, and then we fall over to the side. So embrace it a little bit. And then wherever you are in your life, maybe you want to take a dedication or an intention for your practice. And if you do so, bring your hands into Anjali Mudra. So you're at the center of the heart, palms together to touch. And then you can take your intention or dedication here and then really start to breathe around it. And once you've said it, start your Ujjayi breath. So in and out through the nose, constricting the back of the throat so it's a little bit audible. And then blink the eyes open. As you inhale, start to reach the arms up. We're going to look up towards the thumbs, get nice and tall here. And then as you exhale, bend into your knees, long spine. As you fold forward, the head comes down last. Let it hang. And as you inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Hands could be on the floor, they can come to the shins. Exhale, fold forward, release the head right back to the legs. And then follow the inhale, come all the way up, bend the knees again, reach up. Exhale, hands come down through heart center. We're going to do that 2 more times, no chaturanga. So inhale, reach the arms up. As you exhale, bend the knees, fold forward. Hang your head. Inhale, halfway lift. And then as you exhale, right back to the legs. Inhale brings you all the way up, hands up. Slowly back to the heart. 1 more time, keep moving with your breath. Exhale as you fold, find that nice long spine. Inhale for your flat back. Exhale as you release. All the way up again. Hands to the heart. This time we'll invite in that chaturanga. Inhale, reach up nice and tall. Exhale, fold forward again. Halfway lift, get strong through your legs here, creating space between your shoulders and your ears. And then as you exhale, plant the palms, step back to plank. Push through your heels, elbows face in, lower all the way down. You can come through the knees as well. Uncurl your toes, lift the chest for cobra. Exhale as you lower down. Curl the toes under. Push through hands and knees back to your down dog. And then start to pedal out the feet. Let the hips move from side to side as you pedal out. And if it's our first down dog of the day, we really want to be strong through the arms and the legs. Taking our first inversion. Spreading your fingers nice and wide so all the muscles turn on in the arms. All the way to the shoulders, and then we have this little external rotation so the elbow creases spin up. And remember, the heels never have to touch the earth. You can keep a big bend in the knees. We just want them to hang heavy. Bottom of your next exhale, nice and slow. Start to come all the way up to the mat, keeping the bend behind the knees. As you arrive, take your feet back together to touch, and then as you inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale brings you all the way up to standing again. Hands reach up. Exhale, come back through heart center. 2 more just like that. Inhale, lift up. Exhale as you fold forward. Halfway lift. See if you could step with your opposite foot back. So I step with my right first, then I'm going to step with my left into plank, push through my heels. This time I'm going to come through the knees just to show you. Exhale, lower all the way down, elbows in. Uncurl your toes, lift the chest for cobra. Exhale, lower. Through hands and knees, back to down dog. Take your time. Find your breath again. See if you need that movement. And if your down dog feels too short or too long this morning, roll back out to your plank. Push through your heels, stack your shoulders and your wrists, and then lift your hips back to down dog. Bottom of your exhale. Step your right foot forward first, then the left follows, top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. All the way up to standing, reach up, look up. Hands back to the heart. One more time, and this time you'll have the option to take up dog or cobra. Inhale, reach up. Exhale as you fold forward. Halfway lift. Plant the hands, maybe your opposite foot steps back this time, into your plank, lower through the knees, all the way down, or to your hover for up dog. Inhale, back to down dog. 5 more deep breaths here. You could still find some movement in your down dog if you need it, if it feels good. This time at the bottom of your exhale, the left foot's going to step forward first. Right foot follows, top of the mat, feet together to touch, halfway lift. Exhale as you fold. All the way up to standing, reach up nice and tall. Hands through heart center and pause. So just notice your energy level. Notice your breath through the body. And close your eyes here. Start to bring up your intention again, just so we don't forget it, or your dedication. Remember who you're sending this practice to. Take a smooth inhale through your nose, and a big exhale out of your mouth. One more in breath. As you exhale, bend your knees, drop your hips, come into your chair pose. See if you can sink the hips just a little bit lower this morning. Keep the chest up. Gaze could be up to the thumbs. So my hands can be lower in front if that doesn't work for my shoulders to look all the way up. And then on your next exhale, fold forward. This time let the feet come apart. Hip width distance or wider. Drop your head. You might take ragdoll, opposite arm to opposite elbow. Find a little sway here if that feels right. For a little bit more, if you want to go deeper into it, you might take your peace fingers around your big toe. If you're here, as you're holding on to the big toe, you're going to inhale, halfway lift for a flat back. And then as you exhale, let your elbows come out to the side and you kind of pull yourself down just a little bit more, head hangs. Really finding your breath in this pose and finding a release. So the back of the neck is long, no tension there or in the shoulders. Your upper body really starts to feel loose. It's like this bobblehead feeling. The soft palate widens. If we keep the knees bent enough, we get this nice release in the low back as well. And the best image that you could think of here, if you're really stuck on something, if any words, an emotion, something you said to someone or something said to you needs to come out, just picture it pouring out of the top of your head like water, especially as you're upside down here. No effort. You just let it go. It's in a puddle on the mat, leaves the body completely. Take a nice full inhale, a nice full exhale. And then release your bind if you're at the elbows or the toes. And nice and slow, the hands and the head are going to hang as you start to roll all the way up to standing. Head comes up last. Roll your shoulders back. Take the feet back together to touch. We're going to take a sun salutation back to down dog. Inhale, reach up. As you exhale, fold forward. Your decision here. You can skip the chaturanga or take it. Halfway lift. Exhale, plant the palms, step back to plank. If we're taking the chaturanga, as we exhale, we'll lower down. Or we'll exhale, lift the hips back to down dog. Take a nice big inhale, lift your right leg up. So we want to straighten the leg first to find the length. Even point the toes, and then bend the knee, flex the foot, open up the hip. Maybe the left heel drops towards the mat to get that calf stretch. And really make sure you're not dropping that left shoulder too much. We want to keep them square. Take a full exhale and step outside of your pinky, coming into lizard pose. So you might take a second here. Come onto your fingertips, reach the heart forward, and maybe even a little front to back motion. And then take your back knee down. The hips might settle, so you might be here, and this is great. If you want a little bit more, you can start to wiggle then left to right. This feels really good to me. And if you need a little bit more space here in the hips, this right foot does not have to be straight on. You could have a little angle, you could have it on the side. If it helps this hip open up, we're gonna do it. And so moving deeper into this pose, if it's available for us, we might come down to the forearms. And we want to come down to the forearms if we're not reaching them towards the earth. And also we want to check into the back. So if we're coming down to the forearms and we're super rounded, we should probably just come back to the hands. If we come down to the forearms and the back can stay nice and level, this is okay for us. If you have props at your house and you could take some blocks underneath the forearms, bringing the earth a little bit closer, great to do that. And so you might notice I've got my back toes curled under just to take some pressure off of my back knee. If that back knee is okay, no injury or no sensation there, you might uncurl the toes. And then nice and slowly, if you're at the forearms, come back to the hands. Take your left hand into the center of the mat, the right hand to the right knee, and start to open the chest. The hips might drop a little bit more here. And then hands come back through center. Curl your back toes under, leave your foot out to the right, and pull the hips back for this half split variation. Hands might work back towards you. If you have the blocks, you might take them with you. Really flex your toes back towards your shin. Keep that little bend behind your knee, and you could hinge forward at the hips here to intensify the stretch. And then start to bend back into your right foot or into your right knee. Hands come inside the right foot, engage your left leg, step back to plank. Either lower down for your chaturanga or lift the hips. And then push it back to down dog. Take some nice deep breaths here. And then we're going to use your inhale. Take your left leg up. So pointing the leg first, keeping it straight, pointing the toes. Bend the knee, flex the foot, open up the hip. Maybe the right heel drops down, check in with the shoulders. Take a full breath in. Use the entire exhale. Step outside of your pinky. So staying at the hands with that back leg engaged to start. Maybe a little front to back rock as you pull the shoulders back, open up the heart. All these little movements really just to find your pose. And then the back knee comes down. Bring my hands down and start my rock, my wiggle from left to right. So on this side, it feels better for me to open up that foot, like I talked about on the right side. It wants to angle out here, I'm gonna let it. And maybe you try the forearms on this side, knowing that your sides are different. Maybe you have a little bit more flexibility here. Maybe this is the side that you back off and you don't go to the forearms. Really just respecting and honoring the body through sensation, through breath, through your limits. Don't go past the edge, just find it, work into it. And you'll notice as I come down to my forearms, I like to keep the rock, keep the movement going. And if we've gone to the forearms nice and slowly, again, we'll start to come back to the hands. The right hand then comes into the center of the mat. The left hand goes to the knee. My hips drop as I start to open my chest. And then the left hand comes back, leaving the left foot out to the left. Pull the hips back. Bring your toes up, flex your foot, half split. Little bend behind the knee, and then we could hinge at the hips if we want more. As you exhale, bend back into the square of that left knee. Hands come inside the foot, engage your right leg. Step back to plank. You know your options. You can come down through your chaturanga, whatever it looks like, or you can meet back in down dog. Use the inhale, take your right leg up, point your toes, then bend the knee, open up the hip. This time as you exhale, we'll step inside your right thumb, leveling out the hips here. So take your right thumb back towards your hip. You're looking for the greater trochanter. Pull it back so you settle the hips. And then as you inhale, come up into your lunge. See if you can sink the hips just a little bit lower. So we're going to drop the shoulders down the back, let the pinkies rotate in to find that rotation of the arms, and then keep pushing through your left heel. Hands come out to a T. Nice and strong through your legs, you'll find this twist. So the left hand comes forward, the whole torso turns to the right. And then as I exhale, my left hand comes down to the mat. I'm still in this twist, my right arm's up towards the sky. As I exhale again, right hand comes down. I'm gonna keep that back leg engaged, step through to plank, and then I'm gonna take my left hand underneath my nose, spin onto my left side, side plank. So from here, lots of variations. You might lift that right leg up. You might be at a modification to take the hips higher, or you might be feet stacked, hips lifted, and then back through center, hold your plank. Stay with your breath. Exhale, lift the hips back to down dog. Find your breath here. Use your next inhale. Left leg is going to rise nice and straight. Bend the knee, open up the hip. As you exhale, inside your left thumb. Left hand works back, pull the hip back, center them off, and then as you inhale, up to standing. Same thing with your arms, really pushing through that back heel. Slowly start to open up to a T. As you exhale, finding this twist in the opposite direction, right hand comes forward, the whole torso twists. Exhale, right hand comes down, left arm lifts up. Still nice and strong through my legs as I exhale again. My left hand's gonna come down. I'm gonna take my left foot back, right hand to the middle of the mat, into my side plank on this side. Any variation, just keep your hips high. And then back through center. Take a breath in your plank. Exhale, lift the hips. 5 deep breaths in your down dog. If you don't want down dog for these 5 breaths, Vinyasa is a great option. Just seated, keeping the energy up while resting. Or also child's pose is available as well at any point whenever you want it. Knees down wide, palms face down. Or embryo pose, feet and knees closer together, hands back towards the feet. Simply pausing to find your breath, to reconnect and get centered. And then wherever you are, if you're in Virasana, let your hips come to the side. If you're in child's pose, start to come up and let the hips come to the side. Bringing the feet around in front for some seated poses. So first, taking Baddha Konasana, soles of the feet together to touch, knees out wide. I like to start with hands behind my back, push my pelvis forward, get a nice long spine. I can smile here, everything feels good. And then if we want more from here, if you're going into your forward fold, we want the chest to stay open. We want the spine to be nice and long. So sit up as tall as you can, open your feet like a book, and then keep the crown of your head reaching outside of your toes. So nice, long. The chin would come in front of the toes, and then eventually my head would come all the way down. If that's not available this morning, come back to hands right behind the back. Bring your smile back. 3 more breaths here, wherever you are. And then we'll take a nice gentle twist out of this. So the feet come back to the mat, soles of the feet down, knees together to touch. Wrap your right arm around your knees, take your left hand behind you, sit up nice and tall, and then twist over your left shoulder. If you needed more out of this twist, you could send your right leg down, keep your left foot on this side of the leg, or even cross it over and start to deepen a little bit more. Then as you exhale, release. We're going to start the same way. So feet on the mat, left arm wraps this time, right hand behind, sit up nice and tall, twist over the right shoulder. For more as we're here, left leg goes down. We might keep the foot on this side of the leg. We might cross it over, re-wrap to twist. And just breathing into the belly, getting into the digestion, feeling that movement. Exhale, release, coming back through center. And as your feet are on the ground, your knees are zipped up together to touch. Take your hands forward like you're holding this invisible beach ball and start to lower down nice and slow towards the ground. And eventually you'll just fall back. Bring your knees up into the chest. Squeeze them towards you. And then start to rock left to right on the back of your body. We'll set up for one bridge pose. So heels or soles of the feet come down to the mat, keeping the knees and the hips, or the knees and the feet hip-width distance. We're gonna start to squeeze through the inner thighs. So my knees are gonna squeeze together. I'm gonna squeeze my glutes, roll onto the tops of my shoulders, and then lift my hips. From here, if it's available, I might interlace my hands behind the back and then push into the back of my hands, into the back of my arms. So you'll notice my chest lifts even higher than my hips. If I want even more than this, I can come onto my tippy toes, keep squeezing my glutes and the inner thighs. Releasing the hands to come down. Exhale nice and slow, one vertebra at a time, until the hips come down. And then feet as wide as the mat. Both knees drop over to the right side. Maybe both arms lift up. So the arms are on the back of the mat. We have all this length through the side body. And then use your exhale, let your knees come through center over to the left side. Two more times, moving back through center, knees drop to the right. This time we're going to hold this side. If you like to hook the foot on the knee, just make sure there's no pulling at the low back here. And then feel all of this length in the left side body, all the way from the knee to the fingertips. Release the foot if it's hooked. Come back through center, dropping the knees to the left side, holding here. Right arm extends out long over the head. Left heel might hook on the leg. Breathing into the side body, from the knee to the fingertips. Lots of length. Unhooking the left foot. Coming back through center, bringing the knees up into the chest just to grab the insides or the outsides of the feet for happy baby. If you need something a little bit more restorative, the best is knees and the elbows come into line, and then I just lock my inner middle fingers, and then I can rock here the same way I would in happy baby. A little more restorative, a little more space. If you're in that full happy baby, feel free to straighten one leg and then the other. Whatever movement feels good. Taking the soles of the feet together to touch always feels nice, stretching the inner thighs. And then bringing the knees into the chest. Setting up for our supine twist, nice and gentle, just like our first twist. Arms come out to a T. We're going to set up the knees to try and have these 90-degree angles, and then let the knees fall over to the right. Gaze goes to the left. And my right hand might come onto my leg. It might come onto my rib cage. Anywhere on the body, really, just to give yourself a little self-touch, a little self-love. Maybe closing the eyes here to wind down with the practice. Slowly coming back through center, taking those same 90-degree angles, adjusting the hips if you need to over to the right, and then dropping the legs over, taking the gaze over the right arm. Left hand can come to the body, the rib cage, the hip or the leg. Closing the eyes to wind down. Unwinding the spine one last time. Knees through center. Wrap the arms around the legs. Squeeze them towards you for a big hug. And then lift your head. Give the knees a kiss. If you can't reach the knees, send them kisses. And then exhale. Shavasana. Let the feet flop out. Roll onto the tops of the shoulders so everything can settle on the mat here. Palms face up. If Shavasana is not okay on the low back, soles of the feet come back to the mat, my knees fall together to touch. Let go of the breath. Let it come back to natural. Let gravity start to take the body into the earth, feeling heavy. Letting go of any thoughts. letting go of the practice, and just being held in your awareness. You may stay in your Shavasana for as long as it feels right. When you're ready to come out of it, start some movement, maybe through the head and the neck first, rolling from left to right. And see if the wrists want to roll out, the fingers want to move, toes and ankles. If it would feel good, take a full body stretch like you just woke up. And then bend into your knees. Use your arm as a pillow as you roll over to either side. And stay comfortable on your side for a moment. Just appreciating yourself for getting onto your mat, for taking this movement for your body, spending this little bit of time on yourself, on what you need. Come back to your intention or your dedication and just feel it. Breathe into it. Before you come up to a seat, make sure you tell yourself thank you. Make sure you tell yourself I love you. And as always, if it feels funny saying I love you to yourself, say it again. And then use the strength of your arms. Start to push yourself up back into a seat. Sitting up nice and tall to re-energize your spine. And taking a moment to really notice how you feel, if any shifts occurred throughout your practice. And coming into Anjali Mudra, right hand comes to meet the left in front of the heart. Returning to your heart at the end of your practice. Thankful for yourself and for your practice. Let's close this together. So bring your thumbs to meet your third eye. Wish the benefits out to all beings. And we'll bow together. Namaste.